This meeting. I'd like to open this meeting of the Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority. At 6 o'clock. I think first item on business that we have is approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add to or question?
Well, let me run down the list real quick. Take 10 minutes. President Eric Whitman
Yes.
and Vice Chair Treasurer Teresa Parker. Okay, Tim Kraft, absent. Laurel Brown,
Present.
Brett Wager,
Present.
Town Administrator Kimball. Present. Town Clerk, me, I'm here. And Paul is not quite here yet. But hopefully soon. Okay.
Okay, you're caught up?
Yep.
All right, agenda. Is there anybody that needs to add something or question anything that's on the agenda? Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as it is.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
A second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. We'll move on to the second item is the minutes for January 10th, 2024. I want to first thank Sasha for sending them out early so we could read them. It was very nice. Thank you. Has anybody got any additions or corrections we need to do to the minutes?
Well, your name was spelled wrong one place.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna worry about that.
Oh, I see it.
Just double.
I've been called a lot worse.
I will fix that.
Slide.
I'll fix it.
So. Okay, I entertain a motion to accept the minutes as they are.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right, we have a second motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, let's go to year-to-date profit and loss. Who is doing the reporting for that?
Do you want to talk about the profit loss?
Here it is.
I have nothing surprising on there.
Okay?
No.
No?
Didn't see anything surprising.
Well, so I would entertain a motion to accept the profit and loss as it is.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right, we have a motion and a second to approve the profit and loss for the year or for January. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, Grant's not here, so we're gonna move down to Sasha. Sasha, would you please
All right.
inform us? of what we should know?
Yes. Okay, so water bills, I got all the water bills fixed. So those people who don't want a water bill are no longer getting a water bill. So took a little while because I had to go through each one by hand, but none of y'all got water bills that didn't want one. So, so that's all fixed. And we have it set up now too, where if someone new comes into Express Bill Pay and states that they no longer want a water bill, it'll shoot an email. So we'll get an email that says this newest person wants one, or this newest person still wants one. So I had two come in this week. One person said, nope, don't want one anymore. And I went, great, click. And the next person was like, oh, still want one. Great, okay, fab. So I think I got all those fixed. So yay.
Now, if they go to Express Bill Pay, it costs them $1 a month, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Is it like,
If you
it's,
pay with your credit card.
Oh,
yes. If you just withdraw it through your bank, I don't believe it costs,
It does.
does it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't use
It's
the system,
$1.
so,
If you use an e-check, it's $1.
oh,
If you use your debit card or
it's
credit
like,
card,
is it three something?
yeah,
Like $3.95,
Yeah.
something?
something like
I knew it
that.
was more if you used a credit card, debit card.
Yeah.
Most people just have an automatic bank withdrawal.
right.
So I think that's how almost everybody has it set up now, or most of them. I shouldn't say everybody. Most of them have it where it's just an automatic thing. So, which is kind of nice because then it just
Okay,
pops in and out,
Right.
which I really like. So other thing that I didn't put on here, but I had sent 11 shut off letters. So, and all of them were taken care of. And I have sent So I didn't actually have to shut anybody off, and then I had 7 warning letters I sent out.
Wow.
So, next month, if I don't, hear from those 7 warning letter people, then, but, so. So that was good. So we were good there, yay. I forgot to put that in here. And then the system tool report, and then I was kind of paired with this thing. Because last month we were talking about, because you have January, December, so we were talking about the water loss. And so I was like, okay, this is crazy. Cause I'm like, I kind of felt like I was behind the 8 ball.
Mhm.
And so I went through every month, and I went back to January of 2022.
Okay.
Now, I did not have the amount produced for that month. I can't find it. And it took me a little bit to find February and March's on this sheet, but I found them.
Okay.
So this is the last basically 2 years. And then Paul added, because when I started, I just had the date it was read, the amount produced, the amount read at the meters. So then he added this column. And because then I had also paired it with, so I wanted you to see kind of what it looked like.
Right.
So if you drew a line across, you can see the water usage is pretty much the same.
Sure.
Like if you looked at these months here and these months here, you can kind of see that stays the same. But then you can see where this blue line is the produced. And so you can kind of see where the difference is.
Mhm.
So you kind of have an idea. And so then, and Paul can speak to that, but so we added this, that in December, the tank overflowed 800,000 gallons, hence our 50% loss rate, and then 600,000 gallons this last month, so it dropped it to 46. So not sure why we're having that, and like here, like there's almost none.
Mhm.
So that's something we're gonna have to figure out, but I wanted you guys to have more of a visual, so
Sure.
we could kind of see
thank you.
better. Yeah, and then it's color coded by the month, so if you look at December here and December here, those are both red. If you look at the Novembers, they're the same kind of color gray, so you could kind of look at them and see. I just wanted you to have kind of a better visual maybe.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice.
Cause I was like, okay, this is not making any sense to me, cause I'm like, I don't get it, so I'm like, okay, more education, better for me.
Sure.
So, but I thought it might help you guys too, if I gave you kind of a graphy thing so you could see. So that's kind of where we are. That gives you a better little understanding of where we're at, where things are kind of going.
Mhm.
And Paul can speak to that a little better with the overflow stuff.
Yeah, what
since
happened there?
That's a
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
question. I'm the orange line, so I'm the one who keeps track of basically what is read at the meters. So
Mhm.
this is what people are basically using, purchasing, okay? So it's pretty similar if you look at the same months. This one is more Paul's realm because this is what's being produced out at the well.
Okay.
So I can answer more of the orange line. And he can answer more of the blue line, but that way you guys at least have a better visual, and I can update this each month if you want.
Absolutely.
If you want me to keep going, I just made it so I could just keep adding to
Yeah.
it, but I just thought, okay, maybe a visual would be easier to understand. I know I do better with pictures
I do
sometimes.
too. Yeah, that's nice.
So, so that's kind of where we're at with those. So we only had 3,100 gallons of bulk water, this month.
Oh, really? That much?
Yep. That's one which we had, from, I think it was Hammaker.
Oh.
Although we do have the place up on the hill, I'm brain farting.
The campground?
Nope, there's a big plant up there.
Oh,
Burnco.
the scenic place.
Yes, Burnco. They have approached me about, possibly wanting to purchase bulk water too.
Cool.
So they are, they contacted me last month. I kind of double checked in with them this week, like, hey, haven't heard from you.
Mhm.
So they're waiting to get approval from their uppies.
Yep.
And then they would have to see about getting they were talking about getting a water truck.
Right.
So they're still in talks, but they are looking at possibly purchasing bulk water then from us also. So that could be a good thing. So, but it is not official yet.
Okay.
So that's where we at, kind of my stuff, and it can kind of segue into Paul,
Okay.
if that works. Okay, unless you have like major other questions.
Brett, do you have any major questions? Minor questions?
Yeah,
Yes.
so kind of fill me in on the purchasing of bulk water. The process, what that is,
Okay, so.
what we get from it.
So they come in, they sign a contract with us. They have to put down a deposit of quite a chunk, actually. To make sure if they break something, they can pay for it.
So is it like of a percentage or something, a deposit?
Like $3,000 they put down, just as if they, because basically they're drawing from the hydrant that's down by Nordman Park. That's where they draw from. So if they were to snap that off, like we had a guy snap one off earlier this year, he backed his truck right up and
Right, we know
Yeah.
that's at.
Yeah. Yeah, drove right over it, broke it off. So they, get to pay for that. So they put down the deposit and then they do a contract with us. And so then it is, $20 per 1,000 gallons. And so, what happens is then, like what Hammaker does, and each of them is a little different. So, like Hammaker will email me and he'll go, okay, the starting reading at the meter was this, the ending meter at the reading was this, we used this much water, and he'll give me the date. And so I keep an invoice, and so every time he emails me, I just add to the invoice. At the end of the month, I send him a bill. Some of them, will send me a picture of the meter before and the meter after. And I'm like, okay, I like pictures too. Okay, great. They'll just text me a picture. Okay, great. So then I fill out the little invoice. So at the end of every month, just like I send out the regular water bills, then I send out the bulk water bills. And so then they just send us a check. So, and there's some that use quite a bit of water. And some that don't use as much. Some are just like small projects. They'll come and they'll need some for cement. I'm thinking if Burnco gets going though, they might use quite a bit of water, I'm guessing, which could be.
Each individual has their own meter?
They all have their own, key or whatever. And then they have to, yes, and their little reader or whatever. And so,
Okay.
we do have one that we have let people rent.
Mhm.
But, most of the time we tell them it behooves you if you're gonna do it a lot to just purchase your own meter.
Correct.
So, because otherwise it's gonna cost you a lot every time you have to come and borrow mine, you know? So yeah, most of them purchase their own meter.
So it behooves them to take their meter with them when they're done, because if Kelty's come in and want water, then
Right,
Hammaker's.
yes,
Okay.
yes, and most of them do, they just,
Okay.
it's a mobile meter, but so they just. And so usually then like, it'll just, their meter will say, same thing each time, and so just butts up, but yeah. So that's how it works, and so they'll send me the before and the after, how much they've used, and at the end of the month, I send them an invoice, and then there's a spreadsheet I keep too. So it tallies like each month, how much bulk water was used total. And then so it'll tell me how many gallons were used and how much money.
Okay,
So, so like this month, I knew that I only had the 3,100 gallons or whatever.
Fire department, do they meter their water or no?
Yes, but they have not used it. They haven't used any.
They meter it or they guesstimate it?
Well,
Because I don't believe they
I
have a
think,
meter.
I think they guesstimated.
Yeah, and there's, there is a thing with Kelty that I had a discussion with them about last year. They would hook up their meter to that fire hydrant over by Norton, and they just leave it there open all day long,
Yeah,
and sometimes overnight. So,
you shouldn't do that.
Very trusting.
well, they're
Yeah.
trusting with a meter, but also somebody could take that meter off
Yeah,
and then just take water out of our fire hydrant, and we would have a water loss that we can't explain because
Sure.
we don't know who's doing it,
so they've stopped.
It's they have stopped that? Okay, good,
Okay.
because.
The county was doing that too.
Yes,
They just leave it
although,
on there if they're doing inventory a week, they just leave it on there, hang the book on my
Yeah.
rope on my property and walk away from it. And I've been going, really? And the
Yeah, and
wrench
now-
on there, everything, just,
and now they're doing theirs up. They have their own,
It's up on their grounds. I
right,
think.
it's up on their
on
grounds.
the,
So they have to watch over it and
Right.
access.
but I mean, I just can't believe they were just doing that.
Yeah,
I know, there's
They just left it
just,
hanging out.
Some of them are very trusting.
No, I wouldn't say that.
meters are very expensive.
Okay, I was being nice.
Be nice.
Is that all you have?
That is all I have.
All right, Paul. Good evening. How are you?
good, how are all of you?
Well, I'd be doing better if I didn't know that we'd lost 6,000, 600,000, 800,000.
Yeah, so part of the problem is that the auto dialer, we did replace it, but the phone line is, I'm having a heck of a time getting the phone company out here to fix things.
Yeah.
They've come out twice and each time they come out, they said first they said it was from the building to their pedestal, they replaced that. Then they came out the next time and said it was from the building outside to the inside of the building. So we just replaced that, my company just replaced that. Now we're trying to get them back out here to hook that up.
Okay,
So hopefully that'll be, this week. They was scheduled for the 8th of February and they forgot or something.
wow.
And
Yeah.
tried to tell us that it was not scheduled till May.
Wrong,
So I'm trying to get them,
wrong.
May?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I called them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So do you have a tentative date?
I do not, I'm trying to get a hold of them.
Okay.
I've tried to call several times, so I think I'm gonna try and do it online
Okay.
and get it set up and hopefully it'll be this week, if not next week at the latest.
You
Do
should
we
know,
have a limit switch that's also a problem?
Limit switch? No. So the problem is that the, inside that standpipe of the tank,
Mhm.
it's all hollow and then there's a center pipe in the
Right.
middle where the water goes up and down.
Sure.
And there's a transducer on the side of that. That actually, we had an electrician out, Sun Valley
Mm-hmm.
last month, I think it was, to replace the electricity in there. So then had to replace the heat tape and re-insulate that. But
Okay.
because that's all just metal and open, it gets really cold in there during the winter.
Okay. What are you using for electricity? Cause there's no,
There is a 110 outlet in there.
oh, there is a 110.
Yeah, there's a shed next to it that has power.
Okay.
So there's a 110 outlet, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
inside the building.
Okay.
So we do have heat tape hooked up there.
All right. Anybody's got questions about the tower? Okay, let's talk about the meters.
So we will be out, tomorrow
Mhm.
to install a bunch of them and then,
When you say we, is it you and your company?
yeah.
Okay,
So we'll be out tomorrow and then Friday. Should get them all done
that would be awesome.
this week, hopefully.
Okay.
Whether.
Yeah, I would try to do it as soon as possible, cause there's a couple other things that coming down the pipe that people aren't gonna be happy about.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions about the meters? All right, the last thing is the biosolids report. Can you fill us in?
Yeah.
Laurel had some questions that I don't think I've, correctly answered.
What were the questions? So basically, the monthly solid report is a annual report done up on the wastewater treatment plant based on the amount of sludge that we haul out of the wastewater treatment plant. And we do that quarterly. So the way the plant works is that the sewer comes into the plant, it gets treated, and a certain amount of that treated water settles to the bottom and gets wasted into the digester on a regular basis. And as the digester fills up, we have to turn it off and let it settle. Clear liquid is put back through the system, but that solid stuff, it just keeps building up, and then we have to haul it out eventually. So this report, it just keeps track of that.
So what, is it in a liquid form or a mash form, or is it dry?
It's in a liquid form
Okay,
because, and then the hauling company, they either inject it into the ground, they have certain areas that they can inject it into the ground, or they would have to, make a cake out of it and then allow it to dry out, and then they would put that on the top of the ground.
Okay.
But ours is usually injected, so it's only about 1% to 2% solids, and the rest is all liquid.
so when you haul it out, are you hauling out liquid and solid?
Yes.
Okay, and then I was asking, where is this actually being dumped or injected or whatever?
That company, it's, the name has changed several times. It was Ferris, and I think it's, something else now, Denali. So
Oh,
they
okay, that's what
actually,
it says in the report, yeah.
they have their own, farms that they contract with to do that, and I don't know where they're at. They're usually like in Longmont or,
Oh, up that far away?
yeah.
Oh. Okay, cause I thought in that report, unless I was reading it wrong, I thought it said like it was a quarter mile north of Kiowa.
No, that's where the sewer plant is.
Oh, okay, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just new to this,
Oh, that's okay.
the facilities, I just kind of have some questions.
It's, the sewer plant is, west of the, fairgrounds,
Right,
and then that company hauls to like Longmont and different places.
oh, okay, so they really spread it out throughout the state?
Yeah, they have certain sites that they're allowed to put it on, and then they rotate. Once you put it on there, then I think you have to wait 2 years before they can do anything with the
Okay.
land.
Okay,
There's all kinds of rules with the EPA.
What about the new, meter reading system that, where are we at with that?
Okay, so I guess that's a question for me. I got to, last week, first we had to do an update. RBS had sent us an update, And so I had to actually get a DVD disc reader because they sent a disc and I'm like, I don't actually have a disc reader. Because hardly anybody sends things by disc anymore, but so got that done and then Phoenix came and we uploaded the disc and I got all that done. So now that that's done, I have to talk to RBS, that's on my tomorrow list. Cause now they have to upload something else for compatibility with Neptune. And then I'll call Neptune and we should be pretty close to getting that all set up. So
So Paul's end of it will just be basically a meter that he, or a handheld.
he'll get a reader, yep,
Okay,
and he should be able to just drive around and
okay.
it should upload, so we're gonna hope it goes pretty seamlessly, so.
When do you think that will go into effect?
My guess is this next month, I'm hoping. I'm not sure if we will get it by, well, I'm not gonna get it probably by this week, cause he does the meter reads on the 15th. But I would say before his next meter reading, then we should have it up and running.
Yeah, and that'll be a really easy process once it's all
Right.
connected.
Yep.
We have a device that will drive around and
Okay.
probably take, I don't know, half hour
Yeah.
Okay.
to
So,
read them.
That'd be nice.
yeah, so, yeah,
The last thing I have for you, Paul, is do you have a SOP, standard operating procedures, as far as when you come up on a leak? Like, if you will explain this to the rest of us?
Yeah, so we do have an SOP for water main repairs.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna modify one just for the district. But, so this is an actual yoke and meter that's
Oh.
in the meter pits.
Okay.
If it's in the house, it's a different yoke.
I am gonna assume that the side that's got all the unions on it is the house side.
Vanna.
So the side on her left,
Okay,
that is the the shut off valve.
okay, that's,
That
okay,
would be the town side
okay,
that would go to the main. The other side would go to the house.
I see.
And generally, the leaks tend to happen on the right where her hand is on the
Okay.
elbow. And sometimes, some of the older yokes have a little bleeder, and I don't know why they put these on these things, but they put them on years ago, and that's usually what snaps off
Okay,
and causes that leak, and then we have to replace the entire yoke.
okay. And that is when you need permission from the homeowner before you can do that? Or
Yeah, so we're gonna, well, we're not gonna I guess we're gonna notify the homeowner.
what is your procedure for that?
So that's gonna be up to the board on how you all wanna do it. Generally, if the town had curb stops, which you do in Fawn Valley,
Mm-hmm,
if we can shut off the curb stop, then anything after that would be the homeowner's responsibility. But because this is a meter set and it's all one piece, I don't know how y'all wanna handle that. But normally we'd have to go to the homeowner and just say, hey, we need to shut your water off to replace this. And because there's no curb stop, we're probably gonna have to shut off either the water main or the entire town, depending on what we can do, until we can replace that.
okay. Is there anything that you can put on paper and give to us so that we can have George look at it,
Yes,
decide what is
and,
legal and what's not?
I'll put together something for y'all for Kim and all of you to look
Okay,
at first.
that would be
before you
great.
Give it to the attorney, to make sure we get as many questions answered before you give it to him.
Right,
I have a question. Is this the current meters or these are the new meters?
That is the new
The
meters,
new meter,
yes.
okay.
So that is the radio transducer.
On
And
top?
there'll be an antenna that also hooks up to that as well.
Okay,
And then that's how we'll be able to just drive down the road. It'll send a signal to us.
so basically your antenna is a piece of wire that goes up to the top. It's got a little rubber puck or whatever you wanna call it, that fits right on top of that lid.
that kind of white thing?
Yeah, it's kind of silverish
Or whatever, but it looks like a lid.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like a little saucer or
A
something.
little
yeah.
bit above ground, yeah,
It's right on top of the meter pit.
Okay.
So your current meter pit has a hole in the middle and it's got a little black button that we just walk up to and we touch with a sensor reader and it gives us a reading. Well, we won't need to do that anymore. It'll get that antenna in that same spot. And then we just drive by and it's supposed to give us a signal. And they worked really great in other districts that we're using and they're really great in this one. Cause we do have a handheld that we drive around to collect that, but then we have to manually input it into our system.
I see.
So once the system is set up for the town, we'll still read that and then we'll bring that instrument back in here and then Sasha will be able to load it into the program.
Okay. Now with Neptune, does it automatically load it? Or does Sasha have to download it from your
So I
handheld?
don't know, it should load pretty easily, like, I don't know if she just has to have it sitting in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and then it should just transfer straight to her computer.
Yeah, we
Or
don't
if there's
know that
something
part
she'll have to plug in.
So is it sit in a saddle and keeps charged?
We do have to charge it. It doesn't stay charged, but yeah, we charge it before we take it out.
Okay,
And then it should last for, I don't know, it depends on the battery. Could last a day or two
right,
tops.
right, okay. How many meters in the town right now can you read with Neptune?
I think we're up to about 190. I think I need to check. I think it was on the monthly, the report.
Okay,
It should actually have a number on there.
Alright.
At the end of the first page.
well, Paul, the sooner you can get us something that we can, get to, because there's several meters that are in basements.
Right.
One of them is the fellowship hall. I'm not sure how you would tackle that if you had to shut it off.
We've already replaced that.
Yeah, but I mean, if I was to link with and not paying my bill,
Uh,
how would you go about shutting that water off?
The one in the fellowship hall is gonna be a little more difficult. We'd have to actually go into the building
Mm-hmm,
and then lock it out from inside the building.
mm-hmm,
But the rest of them, we would either shut off the curb stop or that shut off valve on the left there. It has a hole where we put a padlock in there, so we shut it off and put.
so you think the homeowner's gonna let you go in the basement and shut that off?
They're a church? They should be.
Well, I mean, there's, my meter's in my basement, so I'm asking you, how are you gonna
So
shut that
your
off?
meter is a little different. You have a curb stop, so we can just shut off that curb stop
Okay,
unless you.
most of Pond Valley is that way?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, so those are easy. The ones in the meter pits are easy because we just have to get in there and put a padlock on it.
okay,
And then the board is probably, I don't know if you have a rule in place yet, but you probably have to have a rule in place that says if somebody cuts off that padlock while it's shut off, that they have to pay a fine.
okay, I need you to write that down so I can send that to George.
Okay. That'll be-
Anything else that you can think of that it's a gray area?
Right.
I'd like to make it so it's not a gray area.
Okay.
That is black and white. Anybody else have any questions for Paul? Paul, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it.
Okay.
There was a lot of answer questions. I understand that you had quite a lively, 2.5 hour discussion with Teresa and Kim.
I did, yeah, hopefully that will.
A lot of stuff was covered.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
we did.
Anything that you would like to tell us?
I think the only thing we're working on is the wastewater plant.
Mm-hmm,
We have one of the SPRs, the influent valve is not working. And the influent is just how it gets into the treatment system.
okay,
So we have a company, Velocity, is working on getting us a bid to get that fixed.
okay.
So, and then we will also be having a state inspection on the wastewater system at the end of this month.
What about the water tower? Is it due for any inspections that you know?
No, it actually was, I think the divers were under last year,
Okay,
and then, so that's once every 5 years.
okay. So it's in,
Yeah.
the only thing that we should probably start looking at is a fence around that.
Yeah, just around, I don't know how much property you have up there, but you don't have to do the whole property, you just have to do enough around the water tank to protect it and allow a truck to drive into there.
Okay. How would we go about finding what the diameter of that fence needs to be?
I think you'd have to, if somebody knows how much property you actually have, we can measure it out. And
Okay,
say, okay, this is how much you need,
okay.
and we can measure that and give that to Kim.
Sasha, I know you don't have a lot of time, but is there some way that you could find out what we have for?
Sure. So the property around the tower,
Yes.
Yes.
sure.
And then the other tower, I think that's gonna be addressed that it's gonna need to be rehabbed or replaced or something, the one next to the water plant, that's the one for your chlorine contact time.
Mm-hmm,
And when you drill the new well, I think that was all part of that process.
okay,
So that one needs to be addressed, but I think that's
Okay.
already on your schedule.
okay. All right. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't think so.
Okay. We'll certainly convey them to Kim or to Teresa or both of them.
Okay.
We'll, do our best. So again, thank you. Go ahead, Teresa.
Talking about the water tower, we brought up that there are 2 antennas on it.
Okay,
Well, there are, some antennas on it, I don't know how many exactly.
2, one is Debbie, and she thinks they're from Direct Link.
they could very well be.
I know direct links on there.
Yeah.
Way back then. So they're getting to use our water tower for free? So that.
To
we
me,
can
that would be
use
a
it.
franchise agreement to me. I mean,
I
we,
just can't find an agreement.
I can't find an agreement either. And I, there was a sign at the bottom of that tower for a while when I started here that said direct, like they were advertising for it.
Sure.
And it's disappeared. I don't know where it went. And
Is that something else you could look for, Sasha?
I got
See if
it.
there's an agreement. You've already asked her?
I've asked Debbie.
and
Oh,
I
you
looked
asked
at
them.
all the records and everything. I don't
She
know
can't
where the
find it.
approval was given to them to mount that up there with no compensation. to it.
Way back when
Really?
I was told.
Okay.
Way back when that started.
Directly, you ask them,
Yeah.
because if there is some agreement, you can just say, hey, we just need to, review that agreement.
Yeah.
Laurel, did all your questions get answered?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kim, you are up.
Okay, during our conversation with Paul, we talked about the distribution system
Mhm.
and that there's quite a few things that we want to, upgrade with that. One of the things is Teresa and I agree that we're kind of splitting hairs when we're talking about repairs, with the yokes. When it comes to one address has a curb stop or a shut off and another address doesn't, and we're relying on some other philosophy
Right,
as to whether or not it's their responsibility to repair or not. So Paul suggested that we, have a program where we upgrade every residence, so they have a curb stop shut off. But that's gonna take a lot of money.
yes, it is.
So I've reached out to the Colorado Rural Water Association
Mhm.
to see if they can suggest where we could start looking for grants for these. I have not gotten a call back
Okay.
yet, but that was just, this past week, so.
Well, it would certainly make Paul's, headache go away.
Well, I think it'd make a lot of headaches for you guys go away too. You won't have as many people in here with repair bills,
Exactly.
So, I'm looking into that. I don't have much more to report on that.
Okay.
We have utilized and used up all our $10,000 grant
Okay.
for the project needs assessment through the CDPHE. You guys just signed a check for $100, so that's out of our pocket. Their budget for that was $12,000, so 10,000 of that would have been grant, 2,000 would have been out of our pocket. So we're now working out of our pocket to get that finished.
Okay, will it conclude?
We should be coming up on the deadline. I didn't look at C sent us a deadline for, a timeline for when he expects to have these targets hit, clear out to drilling the well and completion.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check with him tomorrow and see where he's at,
Okay.
with this project needs assessment. If we're getting close to submitting it, so that we can move on to the next
Sure.
phase, okay? So that's it with grants. As the town administrator, I need to let you guys know that it's come to my attention that KWWA has failed to comply with a reporting requirement with these conflict of interest forms, okay? These are very important forms that have to be filed with the state and kept on file for us. It seems Tim Kraft has never submitted one, and one is not being submitted to the state monthly with regard to these meetings. So I was hoping he was here tonight to get him to fill one out, but as of right now, he does not have one on file and we're in violation of reporting requirements.
It's come to find out we've been in violation ever since we came into, existence. So last year was the first year that we've done this, and we should have been doing it since.
Well, that's what he said. And so then I got concerned when George told you guys that, because we don't do that. So
Right.
like, am I in violation by not having our board do it? So I called Elizabeth, I talked to our attorney, and I actually talked to the county attorney. They have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know, without talking to George, where this comes from.
Right.
George has given me that answer
Sure.
and that's it. He hasn't elaborated.
Right.
But with 3 other attorneys and me trying to confirm that I'm doing the right thing for our board, they acted like I had a third head or something. They had no idea what I was talking about.
Okay.
So, but as far as submitting to the state, I have reports showing that everybody's conflict of interest forms are being submitted to the state appropriately by George. So,
So he's not, I thought he was submitting ours, or at
he's
least
submitting
one.
yours.
Okay.
Yours, Debbie's, it was Annette and
Right.
Teresa's, were all being submitted. But there's not one on file for Tim. We've looked through all the records. We don't have one. I thought maybe, it was somewhere else.
Right.
But, from April on, everybody's has been filed with the state.
Is that a yearly thing or are we good for until?
I am under the understanding from George that you only have to do it
One
one
time.
time, but it would make sense to me because circumstances change.
Right.
Right,
So I mean, we'd have to get with George. I
okay,
don't like calling George
no,
without your permission to do it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it accrues charges for you guys.
oh, yeah,
And I don't want to be the cause of that
right,
without direction from you.
sure.
So if you would like me to call him or email him to ask that question,
Why don't you email him? That way you have a paper trail.
okay. And
Cause
I
if
can
you call
also
him, then
ask
it's
him.
just word, you know,
Okay,
How about I email him, and that way we don't have to involve Brooke, because he's gonna send an email to Brooke.
you gave him directives not to email her about anything, so.
He said he would, because that's a courtesy between, council, legal councils. So I have a couple of emails, maybe I'll just,
That would be great. If you want to do that,
That
that'd
would
be
be
great, Teresa.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
and then
I
I'll
just don't see why he needs to
every
involve
month,
her. She
okay.
has been directed not to respond to anything from him
Yeah.
because I don't want a charge.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't need charges, you guys be charged too.
So that's all I got. I wish I had more. Positive.
all right, we have a hardship case. I'm sorry, does anybody else have anything for Kim? Nope, okay, let's move on to old business. We have a lady that'd like to appeal to extend her payments to, I think it was May.
At the end of May. Mhm.
Okay.
Do you guys have a problem with that?
I have a question.
Yes.
What is her track record of paying her bills? This is for that yoke, right? Okay, but
Yes.
does she pay?
She pays her bills every month.
Okay,
It's just she's on a limited income. And so, she said it would be, if she could break it up into $50 payments, she could make that happen
Mhm.
versus like the 100 and some each month. So that's why she asked if she could extend it till the end of May instead of the end of March, to give her 2 more months to spread it out.
Because she's on a set income, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, she's just on, social security, I believe. So she just asked if we could extend it out 2 more months to give her a little more room to pay that. So,
can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Just, I was just saying that if she's taking care of her other regular bills, and this is just that repair bill, that she's willing to pay it off, but do it in a little long, just a couple more months than we're done, I would say that would be a good thing, because she's at least attempting to pay that, she's not just saying, blowing you off and saying, oh, I don't want to pay it at all, or something like that.
Brent, what do you think?
I agree to that, but what's her consequences if she doesn't?
Exactly.
Well,
Um,
we discussed this at the last
we
meeting.
discussed this at the last meeting. If she does not pay it off by that, then a lien will be filed.
Okay.
So,
Teresa?
and that's why she asked to extend it 2 more months.
I agree with Laurel.
Yeah,
I
we
mean, give
can't
her the
shut off her
opportunity.
utilities.
I
Yeah.
can't shut off her water, but
Yeah,
a lien would be placed against her.
So I would entertain a motion to the effect of what you guys seem to feel.
I make a motion that we allow her to extend the payments until May,
Okay,
and $50 a month to pay off that, repair fee.
shall we make it May 31st?
Yes.
I'll
Second,
second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same, sign if you're opposed. All right, motion passed. All right, we have a resolution. Do we have the paperwork for that? So that I
So
can,
just so you guys have an explanation, it seems a few town administrators ago, the proper way of filing a budget with DOLA was stopped for some reason. Since I've been here, I've just been filing just the budget, not a budget letter, not a resolution, any of that, and that's been fine. DOLA contacted me a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I told Teresa, advising that they needed all these items from them. So I told them, I said, you know, since I've been here, I have not submitted anything other than that. And they said, well, we're just now getting caught up. We're very behind. I said, this has been this way for 7 years, from what I can tell. She said, like I said, we're really behind. 7 years. So moving forward, it's the same process as the town board. You have to have a resolution to adopt your budget. If you weren't doing your budget in the way you were doing it, where all of your, anything that was left in your fund wasn't going to contingency, then I would have to do appropriations. So you guys are keeping me from having to do appropriations
Right.
by the way you do your budget. So appreciate that, and they're fine with that.
Sure.
So you guys pass the resolution, I do a budget letter, and then all I do is submit that as addition to the budget that's already been submitted. You already met your deadline. So you're good with meeting your deadline. There's no problem there. They just need these other documents to complete the package.
So it's basically a paper trail.
Yep.
Do you have the resolution so I can read it?
It's in your packet. Or did you put it in the packet?
No,
No.
no, I didn't know.
Okay. So I can print it out for you.
Okay.
You're sure I need to sign it and read it. Sorry, I didn't think I had that in my pipe.
Debbie?
And I think I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes. Debbie had a lot of notes on hers. You got even more.
Oh, I like taking notes.
It's good though, because it's good backup.
Caroline.
Oh, yeah,
That's kind of what I did.
okay,
This is right.
right,
And-
Yeah, 'cause I have. Sorry about that, Eric.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, basically this says, whereas the board of directors of water and wastewater authority has appointed town manager, the town of Kiowa as a budget officer to prepare and submit the proposed 2024 budget to the board at the proper time. Okay, there's a lot of, oh, there isn't a whole lot, okay. Whereas the budget officer submitted a proposal budget to the board on or before November 13th, 2023 for its consideration, and whereas upon due and proper notice published or posted in accordance with the law, said proposed budget was open for inspection by the public at a designated place, and a public hearing was held on December 19th, 2023, which both of you were there. But for other business.
Did it say the 19th?
Yeah,
Oh.
December.
Oh, December, okay.
Yes, okay. And interested electors were given the opportunity to file or register any objections said to the budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority. One, the estimated revenues and expenditures for each fund are as shown in the amended budget attached hereto. And two, the budget as submitted, amended and attached B, and the same hereby is approved and adopted as the budget of the Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority for 2024 fiscal year. Three, the budget as hereby approved and adopted shall be certified by the board, president and board treasurer of Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority to the Colorado Division of Local Government, and is made a part of the public records of the town. Adopted this 13th day of February, 2024. Basically what it is that, we did all the correct steps in getting our budget to the correct people.
It's a cover letter that goes with our budget. That
Okay.
should have been attached on the front of it. Has not been, we've not been attaching everything that we need to. So going forward, we'll know next year that we need a cover letter and everything, so that we are good to go.
Are there any other questions? Would someone please make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution cover letter for our DOLA, was it DOLA?
Is it Dola, Kim?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, sir.
It's all right, she asked first.
Yeah, I heard Teresa's voice in my head.
Our resolution.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Sasha, do you need me to read this resolution for, proper, or can
No,
we just go ahead and vote on it?
Yep, you read it, so go ahead.
Okay, all right, all those in favor say aye.
I
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, You need a signature.
Yes, please. If you could check one. Like that.
Okay, um,
Yeah, that's those.
oh, yes.
Yep.
And that's set too.
I'm gonna give that to Sasha.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So this was half of the 26 pages that I got the other day. Or no,
It should be about that. No, it's a little more than that.
Mm.
So that's our next, that's why I gave it to you, because we're gonna.
okay, so this is for the rules and regulations for the sewer main?
Nope. No,
Nope.
we're on the policy right now. That's the policy I just.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So just hang on to that packet, because that's coming up for rates,
Right.
Oh, what? I'm sorry.
rates.
On the
Rates,
rates.
I need that.
What is that?
So Eric needs to write his name, he needs to write his name in there too.
Ah. You just print it out.
printer.
Print. Please.
You can read it.
Yep.
Is there anything that we're supposed to do at this time with it?
No, sir.
We don't need to
Just hang
file
on
a
to that.
vote or,
Just hang, with that, just hang on to that right now.
Okay.
We're done with the resolution, and then I handed you guys this policy.
Yeah.
So this is something we discussed, the four of us, when we were in a meeting with Paul the other day.
Okay.
About the repairs, okay? And I took the language out of the code,
okay,
that was there, as well as some, processes that you guys had put in place that we found as well, and we incorporated them into this policy. So this is a draft, okay? This isn't a final policy. So I wanted you guys to take a look at this. It's geared toward the division of the work
mhm,
and where the expense lies, depending on where that division is.
mhm.
And tell me if that's what you guys are looking for. If that's what
Okay.
you're looking for, if you want to tweak it.
Paul, did you
I'm
get a
sorry
copy
you
of
did
this?
not get that part of this. We can talk about that when
Yeah.
we're done with this, okay? So you should have gotten it in your packet so you could have reviewed that before tonight, and I'm sorry
That
that
was my
did not
You
happen.
know, it's, to be honest with you, I've had so much to look at that.
I know you have.
Yeah, it's
I feel
still,
like I just keep throwing stuff at you.
well, you know, here's how my day is. I stand on top of the truck. I'm probably 30, no. I'm probably 10 to 20 feet above ground.
Yeah,
And I get this email from you and it's like, how about I get inside to look at this?
Yes.
And then I start to peruse and it's like, I don't have time right now. So-
I do it all day,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I never answered that email yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
So that's the policy that was created off the
Okay.
discussion that we had with Paul the other day.
okay,
Regarding the meters and the yokes and the repairs. Because Teresa and I, we kind of agreed, it's like splitting hairs with
Yes.
some of these jobs. So
absolutely.
if we had something more concrete in place, then it'd be easier for you guys. You won't have so many people complaining. We won't have them coming in here complaining and mad, you know, it'll be clear for everybody.
Absolutely.
So that's just a draft.
I would say most of our problem is in the older part of town. wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I agree. And it feels like, I mean, we've gotten hit bad the last 2 years with repairs to our infrastructure, and it's just aging, and Paul and I have talked about it. You know, if we don't start finding something to upgrade our infrastructure, it's just gonna get worse.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I'm dedicated to trying to figure out what we can do to get
Okay.
stuff upgraded and have this stop. So,
I will try to find time to sit down and read this and
okay.
be a little more educated as far as.
And just throw me your feedback, you guys, and then, you know, if we wanna have a special session or a workshop, you know, to
Sure.
discuss it and work through it, then let me know. We'll schedule something, okay?
And if we do, I'd like to have Paul involved
Absolutely.
in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
incremental, you know, absolutely.
He's our expert.
Yes, he
Something
is.
we talked about the other day is there's like, I think Paul figured there's about 160 of those yolks
Right,
that are aging.
yes.
And so
We're gonna keep having these problems.
we're gonna keep having them until we get them
Okay.
replaced.
All right.
I'm sorry, but the rules and regs for sewer main, I thought they were kind of the same, unless you have a different policy, Paul.
We have an SOP for how to make the repairs,
Okay,
but that's it, for the sewer main.
sewer main, okay. So if you wanna send that to me. If you feel that that would warrant a separate policy from this, then I can draft a separate policy just for sewer.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, what about the rules and regulations? That's what.
That's what they
I
were
was
just
gonna
talking about, yeah.
call about. Sorry. Eric.
Water and sewer rate increase.
Okay, so I just handed you, I found a study that was done in 2011.
Yes, you sent that to me.
Yeah, and why this is important is that I just found out that if we just randomly just decide, okay, we're gonna increase rates to this amount, we're putting ourselves open for a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm,
We can't just throw a number out there and say, this is what we need right now. It has to be done based off, a study and some in-depth, investigation and research into what the situation is. That's a place to start. We ran into the same thing with the town with impact fees.
right,
You know, they were very antiquated and we had a tier system. This is describing a tier system where it's not all hitting at one time.
right.
So my suggestion was take this report, and give me some
This one
feedback
here.
on that, yeah. As long as we have something substantiating why we need an increase. I mean, it's laid out there in 2011 for us, you know? I know we're waiting on the Colorado Rural Water Association to do a more updated one, but we have something to go off of right now. Just like we did the impact study. We used a 2009 impact study to increase our impact fees.
From what I got from this, it was supposed to have been a 3% raise every year.
And that's what a lot of authorities are saying, is that they have an automatic 3% increase every year to account for inflation.
So can we,
I feel like we're perfectly within our right to take that report and, base an increase and form a tier step increase with that rate study. And bring it up to today's, what's the
3%
rate increase would be.
is only, gonna move us to what, $110.
Well, I think it's gonna have to be more and at the beginning.
Right.
3%. I think keeping a 3% automatic increase annually
Mhm.
is feasible, but right off the bat, we're not gonna get anywhere with 3%.
Okay,
Because of that being from 2011,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, if we did the 3% off of 106 and the 110 and then 100 and whatever, we'd be almost $150 by now.
Yeah, and we can absolutely take that and contact some, comparable municipalities or authorities and ask them where they're at right now with their rates.
Right.
And I did send you a bunch of
Yes,
them.
you did.
Yeah, I
Now,
sent
was
you
that just the water or was that sewer included on?
water and sewer depending on the town.
Okay,
So like I sent you Elizabeth was water and sewer. So they are raising their base rate and then doing the automatic 3% after that. Some of the towns, they kind of included it as one lump
mhm,
sum. So each town was a little bit different. So that's why I sent you a bunch of towns that were similarly situated, similarly sized.
sure,
Some of them, their water situation's a little different than
Sure.
ours, but, so that's why I sent you a whole bunch of
Yeah.
things to read through on those, because they were all a little bit different.
So they just add 3% every year for the rest of our lives?
To try and keep up with inflation. So-
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And most of the towns in the area, some are doing even more, some are up like 5% every year. So, automatically,
Now
but
that-
most of them are going up. I use Elizabeth because that's they did a rate study
Right.
recently.
Right.
And so they have like a base rate that they're raising theirs to, and then they're gonna do the automatic 3% because they're behind the 8 ball too. They didn't raise them for many, many years.
Right.
So,
I would think though, you'd want to spec it and into it. I mean, pretty soon this would be bigger than my mortgage.
right, exactly, it would. So Kim, what do you think that we can do at this time and still stay legal?
I would like to take a closer look at this study
Take a
and,
look at the study before.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to look at that, read that before we make
Okay.
a decision.
Yeah, I want to take a closer look at the study.
Instead of just throwing a number out there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because we're setting ourselves up
Yeah.
Yes,
for a legal challenge if we do that. I think if our customer base was broader it wouldn't have to be such a steep increase, but it's not.
Right,
And that's just the situation that we're in. And I think if we find a municipality that's comparable to the situation that we're in and see where they're at with their rates, then I think we get pretty close to where we need to be,
right.
you know.
Well, I know what I read of this study, when you sent it to me, we were the second highest water rate, but that was in 2011.
That's in 2011, and, speaking with DOLA, when we started going through this process with the SRF loan and such, we had a preliminary meeting with DOLA, CDPHE, those that are evaluating our financial situation.
Sure.
And, they said, I know you got, we kept repeating to them, we feel like we've got some of the highest rates in the states.
Right.
I know that feels like it because it's you in the middle of the situation, but you're really not.
Right.
He says there are much higher rates in other municipalities than where you're at right now.
I would entertain a motion to table the, water and sewer rate increase until next, meeting.
I'll make a motion to table
Okay,
A second.
okay, we have, a motion, and a second to table the water increase, sewer and water increase. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So I know we're close on time.
Yeah,
I would propose having a special meeting, if you would like to have a special meeting, just to cover the executive session.
I think so.
Okay. Tomorrow I'll throw you guys an email and figure out a good date.
Okay,
What works for you guys. Will that work?
that's probably be better.
Okay.
Okay, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to, close this meeting.
I make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Before I get out of here, I'll sign this.